this country's most famous pastors was right in the middle of baptizing more than 800 people into the Christian faith. And as he lifted each body out of the water, he says he couldn't help thinking, wow, everybody is fat. But Pastor Rick Warren, already the author of the hugely popular book, The Purpose-Driven Life, was not blinded by the plank in his own eye. He knew he had a health problem too. So with the help of some experts, he came up with the Daniel Plan, 40 days to a healthier life, a roadmap to better living through 5 key factors: faith, food, fitness, focus, and friends. Pastor Rick Warren and Dr. Mark Hyman join me now. Good to see you, gentlemen. Thank you so much. Pastor Rick, this book is about community as a source of strength, but so much of our community and our culture is based around food, especially this time of year. How do you work around that?
Well, we have to redefine what community is all about. It's about relationships. It's not about the food itself. And actually, community can be a positive force or a negative force. And what we're doing is we're trying to use it in the right way. We have all of these efforts in our culture to get us to eat the wrong thing and at the wrong time in the wrong way. And we just thought, well, maybe we could use community to support each other. Study after study has shown, and Mark, you could talk about this, has shown that we actually change better in community.
Absolutely, absolutely. The science shows that the way we change behavior is by working together in groups. That's what the science shows for all sorts of conditions, diabetes and so forth. So at the Daniel Plan, we had 12,000 people lose 250,000 pounds in a year, and they did it together. And those who did it together lost twice as much weight as those who did it alone. And they got twice as healthy. And it wasn't a weight loss program. It was about the science of creating health. The weight loss was a side effect, and they supported each other. They helped each other. They cooked together. They shopped together. They exercised together. They were there when they had issues and troubles and struggles to support each other and get back on track. That's the power of community. The community was the medicine.
I know you want people to get the book, but how does this relate to Daniel from the Bible?
Well, Daniel was a young Jewish leader who, during the captivity of the Jewish nation taken to Babylon, he was being tutored by King Nebuchadnezzar, the Babylonian king. And Nebuchadnezzar, one of the perks of being in the king's house is you got to eat all of his fine foods, the dainty foods, all the rich sauces and things like that. And Daniel said, I'm not going to eat what's popular, I'm going to eat what's healthy. And so he challenged the king to a contest. And he said, I tell you what, you eat all your junk food, and I'll eat the healthy food, and we'll see if it makes a difference. And he and his friends, at the end of the contest, you could see such a difference in their actual countenance. They were far healthier in their radiance of their faces. The king had to admit, he said, you're right, let's go your way. So he won the contest, so we named the program after him. And it's not a diet. It's not the Daniel diet, it's the Daniel Plan, because as Mark pointed out, it involves far more than just food. It involves fitness and friends and faith and your focus, 5 different areas. We're far more than just what we eat. Sometimes it's what eats you that brings you down.
Let's talk about this. Diet was working really, really well for you. I saw you last year, and there was a lot less of you. And then you had a tragedy earlier this year, which I'm sorry to bring up, but your son committed suicide. I'm very sorry for your loss, as you know.
First, let me say, Jake, thank you for your own personal note and your condolences. And I want to thank everybody who's watching, who sent their prayers and condolences. It has been the most difficult year of my life. You don't get over something like that, you get through it. And 2013, in the Daniel Plan, when we started it, by 2013, I'd lost 65 pounds toward my goal of 90-pound loss. Then I had kind of a triple whammy against me. One, I had back surgery, back problems, and I had to be involved in, I had to go to the hospital, and I couldn't exercise for 4 months. And then when my son died, I didn't sleep for 6 months. And then people were bringing me all these foods, so I actually gained 35 pounds back. Now, as soon as I kind of got through that grieving time, I went back on the Daniel Plan. I've lost 30 of the 35, and I'm back on the way down again. I'm going to be the first guy to prove that this thing works twice, and it works effectively. And actually, it's a good example that setbacks are part of the recovery.
Dr. Hyman, that's kind of the point that I was making earlier, which is all these people bringing food to Pastor Rick and to his wife. Food provides comfort. It's all part of community. We live in a society where food, especially not celery and carrots, is considered a way to nurture and heal people.
But how are we nurturing people by giving them junk that makes them feel lousy and feel tired and have no energy to do the things they want to do in life? So the Daniel Plan is about abundance. It's about thriving. How do we create thriving people, thriving community members? It's by eating food that makes you feel good, by taking away the junk and putting in the good stuff, by doing it together. We're redefining abundance, redefining the understanding about what is it that we want food to do to us. And it's delicious, it's fantastic, great food that tastes good, that is not deprivation in any way. There's no restriction of calories, there's no limiting of anything but the things that aren't really food, the processed junk that's making us fat and sick.
I only have a minute left. I want to ask you one quick question, Pastor Rick, which is your son suffered from a borderline personality disorder. He was able to get a hold of a gun that he got online. You've said that you think he would have, you don't support a law that would have prevented him from being able to get that gun because he would have found a way to kill himself no matter what. But I was talking to a doctor about this very issue, and he said that the truth of the matter is suicide attempts not with guns are far less successful, like 2%, 3% when it comes to overdosing on pills, as opposed to guns, they're usually successful. Is there not some logic in people who have emotional problems not being able to get guns because of this tragedy?
I'm absolutely in support of the fact that no mentally ill person should be able to get a gun. And I'm grateful for the fact that actually in California, we have some of the most strict gun control laws in the nation. And I'm sure that kept Matthew alive because for years he tried to get a gun. But the bottom line is, even when it is illegal in a country, in a nation where, or a state where it's extremely strict, you can always find somebody who is unethical who will eventually sell it to you, and that's what happened. And so we have to hit this issue on multiple issues. We have to deal with the violence in our society and the fact that we're raising kids on shoot 'em ups and games that are involving killing people. We have to change the way we think about mental illness. Since the Reagan administration, the number of psychiatric beds has gone down by 10 times. And we have to deal with gun issues and make it harder for these guns to get into the hands of people who should not have these guns.
Dr. Hyman and Pastor